All right, this is the lesson from your book. We're going to look through a couple pages here just for your first one. If you're a brand new, you want to try to tune your guitar. So I'm in tune, I just tuned, so that is the E. If it needs to go a little bit higher in pitch, you want to try to shorten the string by turning. So this would be turning it down. So turning it the other way would make it sharper, is what the term would be. Here's an A, here's a D, here's a G, that's a B. Okay, so starting at the top. Okay, first thing is knowing how to hold your guitar, okay? I typically like to hold mine this way, so you just set it down on this one leg. But if you have a classical guitar and you prefer to do it that way, you can. You'll probably want to do something that you can lift this foot onto. I just put it on the back of my chair. So you can set it here, and then it will be a little bit higher up for you. Okay. I'll skip over the different names of the musical instrument, but you can review that yourself. It is in your book on page 3. Okay. Next part here, page 4, is showing you the different positions. So when you look at your hand here, we'll just worry about these first 4 fingers. Okay. So this one, oftentimes, as the book says, will be number 4, 3, 2, 1. So when you see on like a tab page, so this will be on like page 5, you'll see a little 1 on the second to bottom string. Okay, I'll skip the part for a moment. Imagine when you're looking at that on page 5, I'll show you the image here. This one right here. It's like you're looking at a guitar this way, okay? I think my image is flipped to you, okay? So this is my first finger, and it goes on the second string right behind the first fret, okay? You'll notice also at the top here, if you look again, that you have X, 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 open, open. What that means is if I was to play this chord, which is just a single note in this case, you don't play these top 3 strings. So you don't play those. But where it says open, the 0, 0, that means open, and you play those strings as part of the chord. So on my first finger, on the second string from the bottom, that'll function as our C chord. Now, coming back to the idea of how you hold your pick, okay? This is your pick right here. I just have a purple one, okay? I like to hold it this way, where I push my thumb here and my finger behind it, okay? So just the tip of that will be sticking out. And you can certainly do it with just your thumb. Maybe it has a little warmer, not as loud. But hold it like this. Now, these individual parts, you can see this on the bottom of page 4, is called the fretboard. Okay, so oftentimes when they depict how chords are supposed to be, again, they'll do it as if the guitar is standing up like this, okay? So this will look a little backwards to you, okay? But this, on my end, is going to be just a C chord with these 3 strings, okay? So each one of these is called a fret. So you see the number 1 goes on the first fret. There will be times that you could maybe do it higher, but we won't worry about that at the moment. Okay, so trying it again. You don't hold your hand like this, but you want to round your fingers, and you want to be on more or less the tip, okay? If you do it where you're just on the pad, I'm hitting extra notes or I'm muting something. You hear that muted sound? So you want to make sure your hand is well rounded. Okay, so that's a C chord. If you can hear these 3 strings individually, you're holding your hand right. Now it might be a little hard at first if you're brand new to this because it will hurt your fingers, and that's just going to be how it is for a bit until you get calluses and used to it. But just practicing that, holding your hand open. And then the next one on page 5 is the G chord. Instead of being on this B string, the second one from the bottom, you move your first finger over to the E string, which is a high E. These two are an E, they're just an octave apart. So you put your first finger here and you play these top 3 notes again. Don't hold your hand like this, I'm just showing you so you can see. That is a G7 chord, okay? So, C chord, G7. All right. Now the strum builder on page 5 at the bottom, you have what's called a perfect pair and rolling along. You'll see that there's little slash marks on this. I'll show this to you on my end, okay? Sorry, this is gonna be backwards to you. So, sorry, that's upside down, but that's a C and that's a G7. What that means is if we were to count this out, is you would play a C chord 8 times. So we'll just do a down strum for this. So, this is perfect pair. 5, 6, 7, 8, G7. 5, 6, 7, 8. Hear that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, G7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, rolling around, this one, we're going to switch every 4 strokes, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, G7. 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G7. And then you end on the C chord. Let's try that one more time. Remember, you want to be right behind the fret. If you're too far back, it will adjust the pitch a little bit. So right behind the fret, rolling along. G7. G7. And on C. Good.